You know the story. Honestly, so many of us has been there. You hit your 40s, you're eating the exact same foods you've always enjoyed, you're moving roughly the same amount you always have, and yet somehow things just start to feel completely different. Your daily energy levels are all over the place, your body composition is changing, and suddenly your favorite clothes just don't fit the way they used to. It's incredibly confusing and, let's be real, pretty frustrating. So, what's actually going on behind the scenes? In today's Explainer, we're breaking down some absolutely fascinating research from the New Image Hub to understand exactly what happens to our bodies as we cross into this new decade. And look, I want to tell you right out of the gate, the most reassuring thing you're going to learn today is that these changes are completely natural. Your body isn't breaking down, it's just entering a new biological phase. So think of this Explainer not as a quick fix for a problem, but really as an empowering, updated user manual for your body's next chapter. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The silent metabolism shift, 2. The daily protein priority, 3. Protecting bones and heart, 4. The hidden hydration wrinkle, 5. Beyond just the plate, and 6. 2 habits to start right now. Let's jump right into part 1, the silent metabolism shift. As we age, hormonal patterns shift and muscle mass gradually decreases, which naturally slows down our metabolism. And this highlights a massive trap so many people fall into. When you notice that metabolism slowing down, usually because of a little extra weight around the middle, panic sets in, right? The old instinct is to drastically cut calories or jump on some restrictive fad diet. But here is the new reality. Because your metabolism has slowed, yes, your body does need fewer calories to run. However, and this is a big however, it still demands the exact same amount of essential nutrients, sometimes even more. If you just blindly slash your calories, you're literally starving your body of the vital fuel it needs to function. So, how do we solve this tricky equation without, memorizing complex nutrition charts? The easiest solution is what we call the colorful plate. You simply need to avoid eating a beige plate of food. Current guidance says aim for at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies daily. Brightly colored foods like berries, carrots, and spinach are naturally packed with a massive range of vitamins and minerals. And definitely pay close attention to that last point there on brassica vegetables. Things like broccoli and cabbage have actually attracted some really special research interest because current evidence shows they might be incredibly useful in supporting normal hormonal processes for women. That naturally brings us to part 2, the daily protein priority. If there's one macronutrient this research underlines twice, it's protein. And that brings us to a medical term that sounds a bit intimidating, but it is so crucial to understand. Sarcopenia. This is the gradual, age-related loss of muscle tissue. Now, the reason most of us have never even heard of it is because it happens so slowly and silently in the background that we just don't notice it. But remember what we talked about a minute ago. Muscle loss is one of the primary reasons your metabolism slows down in the first place. So maintaining that muscle mass becomes absolutely vital after 40. Don't let that fancy clinical term worry you, though, because the solution is highly accessible. You don't need to go buy a bunch of expensive supplements. You can fight this gradual muscle loss with everyday foods you can find in literally any local supermarket. We're talking eggs, Greek yogurt, lean poultry, beans, and lentils. Regularly eating these gives your body exactly what it needs for normal tissue building and repair. But here is the real game changer. You need to change your pattern. So many of us have this habit of grabbing a light breakfast, a super carb-heavy lunch, and then sitting down to one giant protein-heavy dinner. Nutrition professionals are strongly encouraging us to ditch that habit. The practical goal here is to spread your protein evenly across breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Adding a protein source to every single meal ensures your body has a steady, consistent supply of what it needs to maintain muscle all day long. All right, moving on to part 3, protecting bones and heart. Just like our muscle mass, our bone density is also quietly decreasing in the background as we get older. To combat this, just keep the number 3 in your head. That represents your daily target for servings of dairy or calcium-rich alternatives. Think milk, natural yogurt, cheese, or leafy greens. And here's a really great practical and super cheap tip from the research. Canned fish with the edible bones left in. It is an incredibly easy and inexpensive win for boosting your calcium intake. Now, calcium is great, but it doesn't work alone. It needs a supporting cast to keep your internal engine running smoothly. Vitamin D pairs directly with calcium to maintain healthy bones, which you can easily get from eggs or oily fish. Then you've got healthy fats, specifically omega-3s. People get so nervous about fats, but moderate amounts from olive oil, nuts, and avocados are absolutely essential for your heart health. And finally, fiber. Found in oats and beans, fiber is your best friend for digestion, managing cholesterol, and keeping those blood sugar levels nice and stable. Okay, let's look at part 4, the hidden hydration wrinkle.
Speaking of fiber, it actually relies heavily on hydration to do its job properly. Water supports everything from transporting nutrients to regulating your temperature. But hitting your 40s introduces a really specific and honestly surprising biological twist. Look at this quote straight from the source research. Adults over 40 may become less aware of thirst. Wow, that is a massive aha moment. It means your body's internal alarm bell for needing water actually gets a bit faulty. You literally cannot rely purely on feeling thirsty as your cue to drink anymore, because by the time you feel it, you might already be behind.
Because we can't trust that thirst signal anymore. We just have to bypass it with a simple system. Here is an easy 3-step schedule to keep you hydrated. Step 1. Carry a reusable bottle so it's always right there in front of you. Step 2. Tie your water intake to your food. Just make it a rule to drink a glass with every single meal. And step 3. Deliberately take fluids during any physical activity. Choose water over sugary drinks and just sip consistently throughout the day. Which brings us to part 5. Beyond just the plate. Food and water don't exist in a vacuum, right? To really make this blueprint work, your nutrition needs to be supported by a broader lifestyle ecosystem. So what does that look like? First, aim for 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. And yes, the research confirms that vigorous gardening totally counts. Brisk walking, dancing, swimming, it all matters. Next, pair that protein we talked about with some strength training, like body weight exercises, to actively fight off that muscle loss. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, manage your stress with things like outdoor walks, and lastly, just keep up with regular health checks with your doctor. If you take away just one overarching theme from this entire explainer today, let it be this. Consistency matters way more than perfection. The research strongly emphasizes that regular eating patterns and sustainable daily routines easily outperform chaotic meal skipping and short-term restrictive diets. Skipping breakfast and then eating everything in the pantry at 9 p.m. just makes managing your metabolism so much harder. Don't stress about having perfect days. Aim for consistent patterns. And that leads us to our final section, part 6, 2 habits to start now. We've covered a lot of ground today, but if you want to take action right this very second, here is where you start. Habit number 1. Add a protein source to every single meal, not just your evening dinner. This is absolutely the best way to actively support your muscle maintenance and keep your metabolism humming. Habit number 2, drink water on a schedule. Remember, your thirst signal is no longer a reliable narrator. Carry a bottle and commit to drinking a glass of water with every meal. That guarantees you stay hydrated without even having to think about it. Neither of these habits costs a dime, and you can literally start both of them at your very next meal. Developing positive wellness habits after 40 does not require making yourself miserable with drastic changes. It is all about small, smart adjustments. You are entirely in control of this new chapter. Remember, consistency beats perfection. So, with that in mind, what's going on your plate today?